Hello everyone, welcome. It's all about love. I hope you are all well, doing well. And so today we are going to be talking about Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa, this is going to be the 13th episode. And for those who didn't watch the previous episodes, I would advise you, if you are interested, going back and watching them. I think it will be beneficial for you. You'll be more, you'll have more information about Mother Teresa from her birth up until now. We are going to be talking now about around 1975. So it's like I said, and I repeat, it's going to be very beneficial if you go back, if you didn't watch the previous programs. But today we are going to be talking about Mother Teresa from 1975. So as she was becoming more and more internationally recognized, she was also constantly invited to churches, congresses, and other international meetings. Always invited, because everyone loved her presence, loved Mother Teresa, loved what she was doing for the poorest of the poor. So she accepted because she wanted to reinforce the Christians' loving principles in a suffering world. Because, as you know, the world suffers a lot, and in some seasons, some phases more than others. But in 1975, wars were all around too. And so her principles of poverty and discipline was to continue in all the associations she had initiated, especially within her sister's actions. Wherever she was, Mother Teresa, in India or around the world, she would visit the different houses she had created, initiated as often as she could, and would write also to them if she was not around. She was always concerned with the detail or discipline within the various foundations, always concerned. She wanted to know if everything was going right, or was going in the right way for those houses, for those houses that she had initiated. So the sisters were not the sisters, whether they were with Mother Teresa or around the world or in other houses, they were not allowed to spend unnecessary money or accept anything luxurious, but a glass of water, to respect people's hospitality and attention and kindness. This is what Mother Teresa always made sure to not to spend unnecessary money, always following the principles of poverty, accepting just a glass of water because it was a way of thanking the people for their kindness and hospitality. The spirit of poverty was prevalent, which was the main mean of identification with those they served, and faith in divine providence was vital, was fundamental. So for some of you who listened or watched the previous programs, I mentioned already many times the faith that Mother Teresa had on divine providence, and she was imputing in the sisters also to have faith in divine providence. If they didn't have something, or if they did have a need, they would prefer to wait, because they knew from their own experience that God was going to use someone to give to them that thing that they needed. Always, faith in divine providence was fundamental. So in 1975, Mother Teresa was invited to the International Women's Year in Mexico City. She accepted the invitation because she wanted to witness because Jesus' love for his poor is poor in the name of the church. In the conferences, or in the conference, in that specific conference in the International Women's here in Mexico City, she highlighted the role of women in establishing world peace. Because she was a woman. She was dealing in a daily basis with women, apart from the poor of the poor. And she always was also always establishing the power of the women in establishing world peace in the world, because she was a world peace too. And so she would say, and she said in that day, that conference, this sentence. It was a sentence that she used very often, say, love begins at home. Love begins at home. I'm sure many of you know this sentence of Mother Theresa of Calcutta. Love begins at home. The greatness of women lies in loving others, not themselves. So if you focus on Mother Theresa specifically, because you are talking about Mother Theresa, she was saying that sentence, that phrase, because it was in her bones, in her body, in her soul, in her spirit. That phrase was on her whole entire being. And she knew that other women knew this. So she knew that loving others was more important than loving themselves. And that was the greatness of everything. Mother Theresa loved more others than herself. Of course she loved her, because many of you know, and I know, that you have to love ourselves if you want to love others. We have to start loving ourselves if we want to love others. If you don't love ourselves, how can we love others? And so Mother Theresa loved herself, but she loved even more the other people. There is no doubt about it. From everything she was doing, we could see that is real. That was real, was a love for people. So, traditional views and revolutionary change on the role of women were widely publicized in United States. Widely publicized in United States, and in spite of some criticism, because Mother Theresa received quite a lot of criticisms, she was awarded the Voice of America's International Women's Year for the work with the poor in India. There was no denying of her greatness, of her love for the poor, the poorest of the poor. And so she was awarded for the work with the poor in India. So additionally, Mother Theresa was rewarded with the first Albert Schweitzer International Prize in Wilmington. Monetary gifts were given also in Washington, and an honorary Doctor of Laws degree in Nova Scotia. That's incredible, beautiful, what she was receiving, and everything for the poor, the poorest of the poor, in their name, and in the sister's name too. This is what she used to say. That's why she was going around the world, opening houses, talking to people, going to conferences, receiving awards, everything she was doing, all in the name of the poor of the poor. So the United Nations Fund of Food and Agriculture Organization also honored Mother Theresa with a medal in recognition for her exemplary love and concern for the hungry and poorest of the poor. She really had a really pure concern for the poorest of the poor, for the hungry, those who didn't have food, those who didn't have water. She was always giving and giving, because as I said previously, there is no love if you don't give. if you give, you have love. And Mother Teresa was always giving because she had a great love for people. Wonderful. So that's meanwhile some brothers, you know, for those who want to go to the previous episodes, you know that there was also Mother Teresa also initiated or founded a foundation, an association of brothers to help the sisters. And so meanwhile some brothers went to Los Angeles to help the ones who did not have love. Who did not have love. And there are so many people who don't have love. You know this perfectly. So young men began to join the brothers. Young men in Los Angeles, seeing what the brothers were doing, began to join them to help the people who didn't have love. Here they were visiting the old people in Los Angeles, the sick. They were doing exactly what the sisters and Mother Teresa were doing. They were visiting the alcoholics, the neglected, and putting their love into action. Always putting their love into action on a daily basis, from day to night. Homes were open to the homeless in Los Angeles. And those in need and the emergency shelter, shower and clean clothes were simply a chat. They all were given